This is Duke University.
I haven't really told this story before, but I went to Morocco in 1980. I decided it was time to teach them a song. We'd been through enough curriculum, and I looked in the Peace Corps book, and in there was the song Imagine. And I thought, oh, this will be great. They're sophomores, easy vocabulary. And so I prepared a lesson, and I went to class, and the Ministry of Education was there that day, a man in a suit. I met him, he sat in the back. And it never occurred to me that anything might happen as a result of that. Like, what does that mean? I wrote on the board, imagine no country. So what does that mean? Imagine that. And then what? The board was covered with a list of no flag, no king, no government, no. And I kept writing, and I said, yeah, and you, and yes, and you, and you, yes, yes, yes. And they gave me all their essays, and I marched out of there, and I shook the Minister of Education representative's hand, and I thought, great. And it wasn't, I don't know, not many weeks later before I got a notice from Peace Corps that I'd been fired. So I walked around the block, and I decided I can't sign. So I went into the director's office and I had the paper in my hand, and I just said, you know what you can do with this paper? You can take this paper. And he was a new director and said, well, I don't think you did anything wrong. Do you want to work for social services instead of education? I'll put you in Marrakesh and make you a director of education. I said, okay. And I kept working. And I've been teaching ever since, and I'm an assistant director of an English for International student program here at Duke. I teach international graduate students, and that's the end of my story.
After graduating from Duke, I did some clerkships and then became a corporate lawyer for 4 years, and then decided this is not very fulfilling. It's not good long term. I really want to fulfill lifelong dream of joining the Peace Corps. So I joined the Peace Corps, and they sent me to Malawi, Africa, to be a teacher. And I served in a rural village for 2 years, Kualala village in Malawi. And during that time, I lived with 3 boys. And the 3 boys are on the cover of my book. Noticed when I was living in the village that most of development policy was coming from above. It was coming from NGOs. It was coming from international economists. It was coming from heads of state. It wasn't coming from anyone who knew anything about what was going on in the village. So I came home and I wrote a book about village Malawi and what's really going on there and the people who were there. And I wanted to tell their stories, particularly the stories of the 3 boys I lived with.
I was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Philippines and in 1980s. As I was leaving, I was trying to think, gosh, what did I get out of this? What did these people get out of me being here? And what I thought, I got so much out of it. But I did think that they did get something out of it, because I lived in a small community where the temperature was the same, the sun got up at the same time every day, people made their houses the same way, they spoke the language the same way, they were very resourceful people, but everything, stayed quite the same. And in a way, I came in and I shook things up a little bit, in that I spoke the language differently, I built my house differently, I did everything differently, and it made them think a little bit differently about what they were doing. So it wasn't big, but a little.
And after I graduated, I joined the Peace Corps, and I went to West Africa and served in a country that was then called Dahomey. Not long thereafter, after I just escaped by the nick of things, they announced at my school that we were going to have a visitor from the Ministry of Education from the Republic of Guinea. Everyone is going to hate me because he's going to come here, he's going to see me as this American, and he's going to probably bring me out and start to tell all the students how bad Americans are. So I'm really full of anxiety about this. So what happens, he gives some talk, and it was very communistically oriented about comrades and all of this, and then I thought, oh, this is even worse, because he's going to start talking about how bad America is. So then he kind of sees me, And he says, now who is that, to the principal of my school? And the principal says, oh, well, it's a Miss Booker. She is our Peace Corps volunteer. So he goes, oh, would you come out here? And I went, oh, no. I thought my days were over. So I step forward, I go to the midst, their whole school is out there. And this minister then praises the Peace Corps. And he talks about how the Peace Corps has done so much to help Africa and how it did so much to help Guinea, and that he exhorted all the students to give me the due respect that I was deserved. And instead of being, ruined, I was like, top of the list for the next few months. And I thought to myself, this is just another example of how the Peace Corps transcends politics.
Produced by Duke University. Online at duke.edu.